All right, second day of 5.2. So we're still working with slope-intercept form. So we're practicing writing slope-intercept form. So it should be expected if you were asked anything about slope-intercept form that you were remembering it's always y equals mx plus b, where m represents the slope, therefore b represents your y-intercept. So I'd always recommend writing down that form until you have it memorized, and you can even continue writing it after you have it memorized. Alrighty, in our first example here, we're working on word problems today, so I'm trying to give you a few tips as far as how to set these up. So Wade's grandmother gave him $100 for his birthday. Wade wants to save his money to buy a new MP3 player that costs $275. Each month, he adds $25 to his MP3 savings. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for m, the number of months that it will take Wade to save $75. So again, we need to remember that slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. So that's the format we want to set this up in. Once you read the entire problem, you're going to want to go through and kind of identify what you know. So in this case, we know that Wade's grandma gave him $100. He wants to save money for his MP3 player, and it costs $275. Each month, he's adding $25. So we want to write an equation in the slope-intercept form for m, the number of months that it will take Wade to save $275. That last question tells you what your final answer should be. So in this case, I'm going to change this m into an x. So I'm going to change that m into x. So really, write an equation in slope-intercept form. X is going to represent the number of months that it'll take Wade to save. So in my slope-intercept form here, y equals mx plus b, we're going to set that up. When you look through this, if whatever amount, whether it's money or a starting position or time, whatever happens to be, if you always have that amount, that is your y-intercept. So your y-intercept is your starting point. So let's see if I can fit that on there. Is your starting points. Just ignore that arrow because I don't know how I got it on there. So B is your starting point. M, or slope, also your change. So your slope or your change is that M right there. So if I have to write this into y equals mx plus b, my starting point, no matter what, I'm going to switch up my colors, no matter what, Wade has $100 from his grandma. So that's your starting point. My change, when I look through that, look for words like change, rate, each month, each, per. Those are your slopes. That's your $25. And now all you have to do is just put it all together. So I have y equals 25x plus 100. Pay close attention to that last question asked, though. It says write an equation in slope-intercept form for x, the number of months that will take Wade to save $275. So our final answer is figure out where do I put that $275. In this case, that's the total. So his total cost, $275, is going to be 275 equals 25x plus 100. And this would be your equation that you would solve to figure out how many months it will take him. Alright, our second example here is about a marathon. Miss Olson is training for her first half marathon. She wants to gradually increase the number of miles she runs each week. So currently she runs 10 miles each week, and she plans to run an additional mile each week. Sometimes they'll be broken up. So what you need to do, first of all, is read the given information. So that was that top part about the marathon. A and B is going to separate them into step 1 and step 2. So in this case, your first step is to write an equation that gives the total number of miles Miss Olson runs each week as a function of the number of weeks she has been running since she started increasing. Just a tip that I give is I always look for this phrase as a function of. Let me underline all of it. As a function of. Whatever comes before that as a function of, so in this case, whatever comes before it, which is the total number of miles Miss Olson runs each week, that's your y value. Whatever comes before as a function of, that's y. Whatever comes after it, so as a function of, after it's the number of weeks she has been running since she started increasing. That's your x value. So the x value is the number of weeks she's been running since she started increasing. So when I have to write my equation, y equals mx plus b, y represents the total number of miles Miss Olson's running, x represents the number of weeks she's been running since she started adding those 2 miles in. Now I have to go back up to the top, and like I said, we're going to highlight what we know. So we're going to highlight that she currently runs 10 miles. Okay, she currently runs 10 miles and plans to run 2 additional miles each week. So like I said in that first example, B is your starting point, what you always have. M is that change, what's changing. So in this case, we know that she is always running 10 miles. She is always running 10 miles, no matter what. The change, so in this case we have another word to add to that list, is additional. So if you have each, per, additional, that is your slope. So if I put this all together, y equals 2x plus 10. So anything that you start with, or you're always going to have no matter what, is your y-intercept, or that b value. So that's your start. Whatever you have additional or change is your slope. And so for B, it says find the total number of miles Miss Olson is running each week after 8 weeks of increasing the number of miles. So I have y equals 2x plus 10. Find the total, so that means I don't know y, because y is your total, after 8 weeks. So I have y equals 2 times 8 plus 10, and just continue to solve it. So y equals 16 plus 10, y equals 26 miles. So after 8 weeks, she'll be running 26 miles. Alrighty, if you need a chance to pause at any point, go back and look at anything, please make sure you're listening to this. If you're not, or if somebody around you is not listening to it, suggest that they put on some headphones and listen to these. This will help you with any tips and tricks as far as how to set up your word problem equations and solving. Alrighty, I'll see you guys tomorrow for practice.